If faculty want to create courses in which students have significant learning experiences, they need to design that quality into their courses. How can you do that? By following the 5 basic steps of the instructional design process laid out in this presentation. Let's take a look at the first step. Step 1. Give careful consideration to a variety of situational factors. What is the special instructional challenge of this particular course? What is expected of the course by students, by the department, by the institution, by the profession, and society at large? How does this course fit into the larger curricular context? Remember, use the backward design process. This process starts at the end of the learning process and works back toward the beginning. Use information about situational factors as you make the following key decisions. Step 2. Learning goals. What do you want students to learn by the end of the course that will still be with them several years later? Step 3. Feedback and assessment procedures. What will students have to do to demonstrate that they have achieved the learning goals as identified in Step A? Step 4. Teaching and learning activities. What would have to happen during the course for students to do well on the feedback and assessment activities? Step 5. Make sure that the key components are all integrated. Let's take a deeper dive. First thing to do when designing a course is to size up the situation carefully. This means reviewing information already known about the teaching and learning situation, and in some cases, gathering additional information. This information will be used to make important decisions about your course. There are several potentially important situational factors affecting your course. The general categories I have found useful to consider are the following: specific context of the teaching and learning situation, general context of the learning situation, nature of the subject, characteristics of your students, and characteristics of the faculty. The specific context factors are always important. The other factors are somewhat important and sometimes not, but it's always useful to review all of them. The general categories and the specific factors associated with each category are shown in the Step 1 worksheet. Review each of these factors with regards to your specific course. If you have information about any factor, write it down. If you don't have information, but think it could be important, write down ideas about how you might obtain it. Step 2, Learning Goals. What do you want students to learn by the end of the course that will still be with them several years later? Think expansively beyond understand and remember. These kinds of learning words are not measurable. A suggestion is to use the taxonomy of significant learning as depicted on this slide. Step 3, Feedback and Assessment Procedures. What will students have to do to demonstrate that they have achieved the learning goals as identified in Step A? Think about what you can do that will help students learn, as well as give you a basis for issuing a course grade. Think about and consider ideas of educative assessment. Step 4, Teaching and Learning Activities. What would have to happen during the course for students to do well on the feedback and assessment activities? Think creatively of ways of involving students that will support your more expansive learning goals. Suggestion: use active learning activities, especially those related to rich learning experiences in which students achieve several kinds of significant learning simultaneously, and in-depth reflective dialogue opportunities for students to think and reflect on what they are learning, how they are learning, and the significance of what they are learning. Another suggestion is to assemble these activities into an effective instructional strategy, like an interdependent sequence of learning activities and a coherent course structure. Step 5. Make sure that the key components are all integrated. Check to ensure that the key components, which are steps 1 through 4, are all consistent with and support each other.